Hey, and welcome to Stories to be Told with Talita. I'm your host, a 27-year-old first-time mum and someone who's learnt just how much a single moment can change your entire world. After finding out my son Arlo was born blind, everything shifted for me and it led me here, creating a space where real people can share the moments that shape their lives. This podcast is about honest, powerful conversations with men and women from all walks of life. Stories of joy, loss, resilience, and growth, the ones that stay with you, because no story is too small and none are too heavy. This is a place for connection, for perspective, and for community. A place where you can feel seen, heard, and a little less alone. So let's jump into today's story. Welcome, Jarryd Biviano, to Stories to be Told by Talita. Obviously, we know each other from a little bit beforehand, but can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep. So I'm Jarryd, as you just alluded to. I am one of the coordinators, I would say, of Strava Sharks Run Club in Cronulla. I am a freelance videographer and photographer, do a lot of my work around Cronulla, hence why we know each other. I've been to the Grey and shot here before,
Yes.
but never in the podcast studio. So this is
new,
an
but
exciting
it's
new
exciting.
experience.
Yeah.
Being on the other side of the camera. But very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. And let's just jump straight into it. So before Strava Sharks, what did life look like for you growing up playing sport?
So I've always been a relatively sporty person, sporty kid. Parents played sport, so naturally they sort of give you that opportunity when you're a kid. I played cricket, soccer, a few other sort of sports in the mix there, but cricket was definitely one that took its hold. I'm not really sure why. It never should have, because I'm not a very patient person, but it's, as we know, a game that you stand out in the field for many, many hours. But yeah, I think what I liked about the sport of cricket was because you spent so much time, the camaraderie was such a big element in the sport. And you became really close with your teammates. And I think that's what really drew me in. I'm quite the extrovert, so I get my energy from spending it around my friends and my family and teammates and that kind of thing. So always played sport growing up, and that was sort of where I suppose my love for sport and being active, but also I guess the discipline came in as well. And I was never really a runner. I hated running. I would take
note, everyone.
I would avoid athletics carnivals. I would avoid cross country at all costs. Anyone that went to primary school or high school with me could attest to that. But I think it wasn't until I got picked in a representative cricket team, I think I was 18, and all of those guys were pretty fit. And it became a bit of an obligation. You sort of were expected to do your own fitness. So because when training came around, it was part of the program. So if you weren't doing it, you got found out pretty quickly. So I think that's where, for me, naturally it started to, take my interest. I was doing that on my own, sort of at home and around the local area, and then it became a bit of a routine for me. I just tried to continue to keep that up, because I guess, like anything, sport, gym, writing, singing, whatever it is, the more you do it, the better you get. The less you do, it starts to fall away. You're not going to
develop that skill any further.
100%.
Or learn about the way that you maybe deal with challenges.
100%.
Or how do you problem solve this aspect, even if there's like an injury that comes into that play, things like that. But with cricket, was there a certain position that you played? Like, how does that work in the cricket world?
Yep. So
might be a silly question, but yeah, I'm just really curious.
That's okay. So at any one time, you've obviously got the batting team and the bowling team. Everyone in your team bats. Not everyone bowls.
Not everyone bats. Wait, everyone bats.
Everyone bats.
Everyone bats, but not everyone bowls.
So all 11 in your team will end up batting. Obviously, the ones at the top of the order are the specialist batsmen, but all will end up batting. A bit like baseball, I suppose. You go around and everyone has a bit of a go until your team's out.
Okay, I understand, yes.
From a bowling, when your team's bowling, you've got your specialist bowlers and the rest of the team don't have to bowl. Your bowlers just bowl all day.
Oh, wow.
But I was also a wicket keeper for quite a few years, so he was the one that stood behind the stumps and caught the ball. Yeah.
I feel like that's quite an intimidating position to also be in. You have to be very switched on focused, or what was your feel
you
around
do.
that?
I think, as I said before, I'm pretty impatient, so I wanted to always be involved, and I think it was
Okay.
one position that took my fancy early on because not everyone wanted to do it, so I thought, well, this will get me into some teams as well if I can. And I just always liked being involved, so
Yeah.
it was an easy way to get involved and stay involved. And then I was a batsman as well, so it didn't matter what our team was doing. Generally, I was sort of in the mix there, so yeah, it kept me pretty involved.
And besides cricket, sounds like you obviously started sport at a young age, besides your athletics and cross country.
Yeah.
Was that something that your parents sort of like instilled in you to, hey, like go give this a go? Like what was their mentality around sport?
They were always encouraging, never
Mm.
pushy. I got a brother that's 3.5 years younger than me as well. He was probably just as sporty as I was when we were kids. Obviously, like my cricket took off. I then stopped playing soccer and those other things. But he was always the one that would try everything. And that's where me and my brother are very different. He would try everything and anything. It doesn't matter whether he thought he'd be good or not. I'm not that. I wouldn't try something unless I had some sort of confidence that I'd be good at it.
Yes.
Um,
Can relate.
So very much comfort zone, like my mother. And then Riley, my brother, very much willing to try everything. And still to this day, he goes camping and forward driving and motorbike riding and,
Yeah.
anything with wheels, he's always had a
Yeah.
bit of a crack at, whereas I was always, a bit resistant
You'll
to that
stay
kind
on
of thing.
foot.
He was the guinea pig. I would
Yeah.
just tell him, mate, go and do that. And he would.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad were great. They were really, really supportive of anything we wanted to do. Dad had an idea to take me down to Nippers one day. I think I was about 8 or 9, and all the other kids had been in it for a few years. I was not really much of a beach baby, to be honest, and hated it. I think we left and I was in tears, so it wasn't my thing. But
Put
yeah,
that
as
one
I said,
aside. We've ticked that off.
comfort zones. So they were always really supportive, and that wasn't an issue if I didn't want to do something or had more interest. I'm sure Mum didn't want to have to spend the next 15 years sitting on the side of a cricket field, but
Yeah.
here
Long
we
games.
are. Yep. So and always very supportive. So
Yeah.
I was very lucky.
That's cool. And so let's talk about, so at 18, you said you got into rep cricket.
Yeah.
What was sort of the journey after that? So obviously you finished school now. I feel like, especially like fitness and sport, because we're around about the same age, it's so different. Like now I look at all these younger adults or even like teenagers that are like 16, they're going to the gym. It's all about health, fitness. I feel like a couple years back, like when we were at that age group, maybe it's the location, but it wasn't really like as popular as it is today. So what was like your journey after school? And obviously you got chosen at 18 to be a rep.
Yeah, it was like a New South Wales academy,
Okay.
basically. So I got picked in that, and I mean, at the time, like it's there's New South Wales is a very competitive state when it comes to cricket, so very hard to succeed and do well and make it through those academies and that kind of thing. But I was lucky; I was in there for 2 years and gained a lot of experience from a cricketing perspective, and went on and continued to play quite a high level of grade cricket locally here for Sutherland, which again, I did that for probably just over 10 years. I have a great relationship with all the guys that I played with still currently. And I'm really lucky that I had that because I think for me, that's where a lot of my relationships came from. A lot of my closest mates were ones I played cricket with, and it was only probably 3 seasons ago now that I sort of hung up the boots, so to speak, because it just times changed a little bit. The guys around me were, moving on, either getting engaged, having kids, all that kind of stuff that happens, right? Yeah, it just changed a little bit, and I didn't want my memories or my experience to change. I think I was really content with the time I'd spent sort of at the top, and also it was really hard to continue to perform at the level that you expect of yourself when other priorities take.
Well, you're changing, your body's changing, your priorities in life are changing. You're maybe out there getting a job, full-time job, or whatever it is at the time. Are you thinking about moving out, moving in? What are you, so that's totally understandable to have this different perspective and sort of know that when the time is right to step away.
Yeah.
But now I'm sort of curious because obviously this like athletics cross country from school, what sort of got you into starting Strava Sharks? So if you don't know, Strava Sharks is a run club.
Yep.
And you're based in Cronulla.
Yes.
So do you want to just talk about how that started and what it started as?
Sure. So it started very organically. As I said, came from a cricketing background. Like a lot of things that sort of just popped up out of nowhere, COVID hit, and that was where I guess we had a head coach at our club at the time that wanted us as players in our off season to stay fit and
Okay.
do something for ourselves before we moved into the season. But obviously, we weren't able to train in big groups. So he just said, "Biv, are you happy to start, a bit of an off-season run club with the boys?" And that's all it was. It was probably a dozen of us. We started in a little group chat. We decided that we'd get together every Saturday morning, go for a bit of a run. And at the time, I don't think it was any more than sort of 5-6K, which I think most of us were relatively comfortable with that kind of distance. A few of the guys sort of needed to work up to that over maybe 6 to 8 weeks. But it was always about looking after those guys rather than pushing the top level higher. It was about bringing and I think that's like what I said. It is the comradeship, I think, of the cricket and the doing it with your teammates.
It's not about who's the best. It's not about who has the fastest time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it never was. And that's where it sort of started on Saturdays. Then obviously the season came around. We started playing on Saturdays. Half of us wanted to keep going. The other half were like, I'm happy to see the end of that.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And then we
Yeah.
moved it to Sundays. It ended up becoming like a bit of a recovery run, I suppose, for us. We'd play on the Saturday. We'd catch up for coffee and a run on the Sunday. And that slowly started to build a bit of momentum. Like a few girlfriends would jump in. Friends of theirs would jump in. We'd have a few of our non-cricketing mates jump in. A couple of the cricket dads started to come along, the younger brothers.
wow.
And before we knew it, there was sort of like a group of, I want to say 30 to 40 regular-ish runners. We never sort of had that many in one group, but over the course of, say, a month, we probably saw 40 different people, which at the time, it wasn't big, but it felt very close and tight. Everyone knew each other. It was really, really nice. So yeah, that's sort of where it started. I think then not long after that, we decided, well, why don't we do it on Friday mornings? Friday mornings seemed like something that suited a lot of people, particularly if we could follow it with a coffee and a swim. That became sort of our regular routine, right? We'd turn up there, 6K run, grab a coffee from next door cafe down at Cronulla, jump into the rock pools, have a bit of a swim, towel off, go to work, or go home, have a quick shower and head off to work. And that was everyone's Friday.
It sounds like a pretty good Friday.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you can force yourself into a bit of a run, if whether you enjoy running or not, it's a good way to start your Friday.
Yeah, we ticked off obviously how Strava Sharks came about. What about the name? I'm so curious. And you talk about we decided. So is this in partnership with the guys from cricket? Is this did you say head coach was the one that encouraged?
Yep. So Dan Rickson, his name is. He was our
Dan.
head coach at the time. He still joins us for runs every now and then. He's a Sutherland Shire local. But yeah, it was his sort of initial brainchild, his idea. And then between myself, Steve, Tommy Doyle, Brendan Piggott, a few of my cricket mates, and a few others, it just became a bit of a consistent thing. I think in the second year of doing it, I put together a bit of a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So every run was a little bit different in a different location, whether it was a slightly different distance or slightly different meeting spot. So we got to try different cafes.
That's cool, yeah.
And just run in unfamiliar territories, which kept it quite interesting and fun at the start. But yeah, that was, And look, I've been lucky. I guess a lot of the guys have always sort of backed it and been keen to get involved and get around it. And look, without that sort of support from the early days, it never really would have taken off. And it didn't need to. And that's what I talk about. When I say it started organically, it never needed to become anything more than what it was.
The goal wasn't to have this run club be this X amount of people.
No.
It was, let's go for a run. It's casual. We're hanging out. We
were
get
socializing.
To have
it was
coffee.
an excuse to get together.
Yeah.
But
what a healthy excuse. I love
sure.
that. Yeah.
Do something for ourselves, get together, and then have some brekkie, have a coffee, and get on with our days.
Circle back to the name Strava Sharks.
Yep.
Anything to do with the location, or specifically about Strava, because Strava is an app where you can
Yep.
track your distance, your pace, put it on a map. People can comment. Yeah, tell me about
Well, yeah, our cricket
yeah.
club, Sutherland Sharks. It was the
Okay,
easiest,
okay,
the
okay.
most
I thought it was
organic.
gonna be
Yeah,
like,
no, it was literally like Strava Sharks, the alliteration. We were just like, makes sense.
yep, it's perfect.
I
Done.
think that might have been decided before our first run.
I
That we were
love
like, oh, let's just call our group chat the Strava Sharks.
That's easy.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, as it's progressed, obviously we've added like Cronulla Run Club and
Yeah,
that
but
kind
it's
of
a
thing
great
to it.
name.
But that's all. Yeah,
But that's the
that's all
thing.
it
I
was.
think people think like if you're starting business or you're starting a club or a brand, everyone's always like so worried about the name. But sometimes it can just come naturally and just flow on from what you're already doing.
Yeah, and I think because we've said it for so long, like I don't really hear it now. Like I
Yeah.
hear it, but it's like people, like I had one of my mates the other day go, oh, Strava Sharks. That's such a cool name. And I'm like, is it? I don't know. Like,
You're like,
I just, yeah,
it was the
it
club's
is
name. Yeah.
what it is. Like
Yeah.
we just,
Yeah.
it made sense at the start.
Yeah. Slowly, this started to be obviously more than a run with just your friends.
Yeah.
With your guys from cricket. People started joining. There wasn't any like exclusion. It was like, come join us.
100%.
At what point did you realize this was like turning into something bigger?
There were a few instances. I think, and look, there are still instances today that I come across that I'm like, oh wow, that's, it's liberating to hear different sort of stories. But I think I noticed it starting to take off when the weather got poor, like when it rained or it was cold and people were still turning up. I distinctly remember one morning I turned up where I got out of bed and it was raining and I thought, oh, no one will go down this morning. And I was sort of 50-50 about whether I was going to head down because previous times before that, people would honestly like not turn up if it was raining, and that was fine.
Fair.
I mean, there was no pressure.
Yeah.
And I decided to go down because one of the guys, his name's Corey. He was running every day, every session we had, he was down there. And I was like, you know what, I'll go down because if it's just me and Corey, it's just me and Corey. We'll get it done in the wet. And I remember there was about 7 or 8, and I remember at the time thinking, wow, like that's a lot. People, yeah, it means something to people, right? And whether that is, a social fix, whether that is something that they're doing for themselves in terms of discipline, whether they're noticing the progression, whether it's something to give them clarity in their mind, whether it's something that they've promised themselves they'll do for their mental health. I very quickly, between Steve and I, we spoke about it a number of times. Steve's one of the guys from the cricket club who sort of helps me massively with it, and I've got a lot to thank him for. We had a few conversations and it was like, we've got an obligation now, I think. We didn't really know what we'd created. It was like we'd created this, bit cliche, but like created this monster of like, wow, okay, well, this is what it means to people. And I think it's pretty poor form if we just go, oh, we're going to sleep in or, so whether you're doing it for them or they're doing it for you or vice versa, all the outcomes are positive. And yeah, it was pretty impressive. The other things that I think I started to notice as well was when not only the cricket guys that I'd started running with started, wanting to sign up for half marathons and all that kind of stuff, which was amazing.
Yeah.
It was when we had a new person turn up to Run Club for the first time and you could tell that they were nervous. You could tell that they were apprehensive. And there was this one morning where this girl came back after she'd finished her run. At the start of the run, she said, I don't think I can run 6Ks. But I'm keen to give it a go. Is there a loop that I can do that's a little bit shorter? So I sort of created a bit of a regress loop for her. I said, if you go up to Shelley Park and run down to the Esplanade and come back, by the time you get back, we'll probably be circling around. So you'll have done, I think that works out to be about 4Ks. She came back and she said, I ended up just following you guys. And then, I came back and I ended up doing 5Ks and it's the fastest 5Ks I've ever done. And she showed me a phone and I was like, I think at the time she'd done 6-minute 30Ks for a 5K and she was glowing. And I was just like, wow, this is cool, right? Like really cool to see people tick off marathons, of course, half marathons, amazing, seriously fast 10Ks, all of those things. Great. But to hear someone like that come up and where half an hour ago she was incredibly apprehensive, nervous, didn't know anyone, didn't know whether she could run the distance that everyone else in the group was running. Just coming up, stoked, over the moon, and as I said, glowing with the fact that she'd done something she didn't think she could do.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. Like, I think that's when I started to notice that it was becoming more than just a few cricket boys getting together for a bit of a run. That this had the ability to impact people in such a positive way.
And I think it's a really important story because obviously there's lots of run clubs that are popping up here and there, but I think finding somewhere where you're comfortable and, like you said, it started organically. It wasn't ever starting something to be something. It was, we're getting together and this is what we're doing. That's it. And like, join us. So I think it's a very important story that it doesn't matter where you are sort of in your mind about joining something, whether it is a run group or something physical or mental or crafty or whatever it might be, a mum group, for example. It's like, just go give it a go and just like go see where that might take you. You might turn around and go, okay, it's not for me. I might try something else or whatever, but you never know where that could lead you. And I think that's so nice that is one of your stories of how you think it's something bigger, because sometimes something bigger, it's not even about the quantity of people joining or how many people have run with Strava Sharks, but it's about making that impact with them. And that was clearly a big deal for her. And I can say, as a non-runner, like, I can only imagine, it's when you think you are not capable of doing something and you tick off really close, or you do something that's you just didn't believe you could do. It is such an amazing feeling. And that honestly was possible with you guys starting Strava Sharks. And I sort of want to flow into, because besides Strava Sharks, you do a little bit of freelancing photography and videography. So how did that like sort of come about? Was that something you started before Strava Sharks? Because obviously marketing or I guess like letting people know that, hey, this is our run club. It's sometimes word of mouth is like your most trusted way of telling somebody, oh yeah, this is good, or like do not go there or whatever review, I guess. But yeah, in terms of your career, I can say, how did that sort of like flow and fit into Strava Sharks?
Well, I'm a trained graphic designer. That's what I studied.
Yeah.
And then, through working for a previous employer, I got the opportunity to dabble with videography and photography inside that business as well. And I was very lucky to be given that opportunity, because it was sort of like I was getting paid to work, but also paid to learn to do that for them. And it was something that I ended up being far more interested in, was the videography and the photography side of things rather than the graphic design. So they're, I guess, my main skill sets. And then, that eventually evolved into 100% freelance basis. So that's sort of my entire scope of works now. Look, I guess it certainly helps to be able to promote the run club, be it that's what I do. And obviously we've got a lot of willing participants within the run club that are keen to, be a bit silly in front of the camera or do whatever as well, which is great. But I think it certainly helps having a good social facing, I think, for it. And not only to not to make it look like it's something it isn't, but really just to highlight what it is. I mean, I try and be as authentic as possible in what we post on there, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I don't want people to come and think it's something when it's not. I mean, we're very open and honest about the fact that we're a grassroots run club. We support, and me and Steve have always tried to support the bottom line rather than the top line, right? Like the good runners and the the eager runners, they're always going to know how to look after themselves. They're always going to know which way to run or the route or all that kind of thing. So it's about supporting sort of the newbies or those who don't necessarily feel like they belong, because I think that's a big part of it, right? Like you start anything for the first time, whether it's a gym or a job or a mother's group or whatever it is, right? It's always going to be a bit nervous. You're always going to be a bit nervous. You're always going to be a little bit apprehensive. You're always going to, lack that confidence. But I think, like anything, the first step is always the hardest. The first day is
So
always
hard.
the hardest. And
Yeah.
once you do that, you realize that, again, cliche, you find that there's going to be someone there that is in the same position as you. And that's where like relatability comes in. And I think that's where comfort and confidence then comes in. If you feel like you turn up somewhere that has other people that are just like you, that's where you start to feel comfortable and confident.
100%. And I feel like what you're touching on is like connection. It's that connecting from the start and also continuing that on throughout. Yeah, obviously posting on the social media pages, but it's like what I see from an outside perspective. I go, wow, like these people are just connecting but they're being consistent. Like honestly, now that you said like you focus on, not focus, but you try and help out like the newbies. I'm like, oh, maybe I should join Strava Sharks.
You're always welcome.
But I'm gonna the kilometers might have to start at like 2 or 1.
But that's it. We're always we're always looking, and they're the challenges you sort of look for, right?
Yeah.
Like people that come along that don't necessarily like feel like they can run the distance we run.
Oh my gosh,
fine.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'll challenge you to be able to get up to that. Don't start there because A, you don't want to hurt yourself, but also B, I want you to enjoy it.
Yes.
And this is what we say to people. Like I get, Steve and I always have people saying, oh, I don't know how you run and talk. Don't know how you run and talk. Oh, I can't talk when I run. I'm out of breath.
Yeah.
The biggest, I guess, piece of advice, and look, we're not running coaches, but we've done it for a long time, the social running. Just slow down to a pace where you can run, where you can talk, sorry.
Yeah.
Just slow down. And if it's still too hard, slow down more and more and more until you're at a pace where you can talk. Because if you can talk, you can distract yourself by having conversations with people.
That's awesome.
You can enjoy
Yeah.
the process of running with someone. And then before you know it, you'll be running faster. You'll still be talking and you'll have ticked off 2Ks, 3Ks, 4Ks. Like the time goes a lot faster. So I think you say about connection, that's probably our biggest value that we try to instill and focus on, because, we came out of COVID, a time where isolation was so prevalent, right? Like so many people became isolated, they became lonely. Like it was an epidemic in itself. So where we focus on bringing people together, and look, as I said, I was never a runner. I was never a fitness fanatic, but I could always bring people together. I was always very organized. And I think that's what it requires, is having the organizational skills and the social skills to bring people together. And that's my role. That's what I do. I mean, I'm less of a run club leader, more of a coordinator or someone who brings people together. So yeah, I think they're the sort of situations that Steve and I try and focus on, is trying to get those people that think, oh, I can't run. Yeah, you can. I had an old boss in the fitness industry. I used to work for Vision Personal Training, and our boss's name was Andrew, and clients used to tell him, personal training clients used to tell him all the time, and I'll never forget this, I can't run. And he used to say, when you lose your 2-year-old in the shopping centre,
I know.
You can run.
Yeah, you can.
So everyone can run.
Oh, yeah, you can. Can
it's
confirm.
Just find a reason.
Yeah.
Find your reason to run. And if that's social, if that's a bit of discipline, if that's routine, if that's adding a bit of structure into your week, if that's so you can then sit down with your mates and have a coffee afterwards, whatever it is.
It can be done.
Absolutely.
And this isn't even a question, but I've seen so many amazing things coming out of Strava Sharks, like Powerade, Red Bull.
Not
Powerade. Sorry.
No, we did Red Bull.
Red Bull.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've had Rockaby, which is
maybe
like a protein
Powerade will
smoothie.
come. Yeah.
Maybe Powerade will
come.
We've done stuff with Stanley.
Wow.
We did stuff with IGA, and we're on the Today Show.
Okay, wait. Tell me about the Today Show. I feel like that's massive.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, it sort of came out of nowhere. It was IGA had a campaign they were running with their hot cross buns last Easter.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, run clubs were very much, and I guess are still, but very much in vogue at the time. And I think they just sort of jumped onto the back of that and thought, let's feature a run club. I still to this day don't know how or why they
Fucking
picked us,
wild.
but it was incredible. They came down, they set up sort of 3 different hot cross bun stations along our route, and all of our runners
Oh, wow.
along the route. So we ran
Good stop.
2Ks, tried a hot cross bun, another 2, tried another different flavor. They had all different flavors. So there was like apple cinnamon, Reese's Pieces, peanut butter, like all these.
Yum.
Yeah, so that was a pretty cool morning.
That's awesome.
But yeah, outside of that, like we've had some pretty incredible opportunities. And look, I guess my main focus is just trying to continue to bring value to the runners for when they come and turn up at Strava Sharks, because as I said before, like it's all good stuff, right? It all leads to positive improvement for people, connection, routine. And I think if I can further incentivize that for people to continue to turn up, I will, like
That's
I think
awesome. Yeah.
the more value we can add for our community, the better. So yeah, always sort of chatting to or, reaching out to some sort of local Australian brands that are willing to, send us some product that we can pass around as a bit of promo for them, or if they come down, they might set up a little activation down in Cronulla for us because it's good fun.
It's a bit of fun as well. And is there any like future collaborations or brands that you would love to work with or dream about besides Powerade, obviously?
I told you I'd have to kill you, I think.
Okay,
No,
so something's in the works.
We've got a few.
Okay.
We've got a few.
Okay.
It's yeah, I mean it's exciting. It's all good. Like it's always and nothing too dissimilar to what we've done in the past. But yeah, as I said, if we can continue to do that, add that value and just have those sort of novelty mornings, it's good for the community. And it's funny, like the amount of people that turn up when you offer a free coffee.
Oh yeah.
I've said this to a few people. If I gave a few of my mates $5 for them to turn up to Run Club, they'd go, nah. But as soon as you say that so-and-so's putting on coffees, I'm there.
I'm in. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it's because coffees are more than $5.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like 6, 7, depending on what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Matcha. Oof.
But that's it. Like if that kind of stuff can continue to get people out of bed and doing what's good for them and, sticking to their routines, then, it's our job's done.
And I'm sort of like thinking back now to like discipline when it came to cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Was discipline always something that was like instilled in you like as a child, or was this something you like learnt more through sport and being surrounded by teammates and coaches and having to stay fit, and that comes with, okay, well, I have to train because, I might lose that skill or so forth. Like, has that always been something in your life?
Yeah, I think so. I think a bit of both. I definitely think me and my brother learnt it at home.
Okay.
Mum and dad, they had us doing sort of chores or that kind of stuff around the house when we were young. So I guess we learnt the value of, you don't always, you have to do stuff you don't always want to have to do.
Yes.
But also, I guess, the value of money. We're very lucky for the childhood we had. And I think, that was instilled from us at a young age. We, both my parents work. So, we understood the value of, hard work and you earn a wage and all that kind of thing. And even going back, my dad's parents and my mum's parents, same sort of thing. So, I think that's sort of where that side of discipline probably started. And then in sport, it just sort of carries on, but just in a different, from a different perspective, right? Like you see what hard work gets you. You notice your abilities start to fall off if you're not putting in the hard work or you're not doing the extras. And like I said before, I couldn't commit to the level of training that I needed to continue to play and perform at the standard that I expected of myself. So, right up until the end, I absolutely appreciated and respected the importance of discipline and
that's awesome. I feel like it's sort of become something that people are talking about a lot lately in life or podcasts, videos, TikToks, social media, whatever. discipline when it comes to, let's say, work photography, podcasting, your sport, your fitness. It is something that if you don't have that discipline in there, like it's like discipline motivation, right? Like it's sort of, if you don't have the motivation, that discipline needs to pick you up and you just need to go. But you might have the motivation to go, so that discipline follows after.
Yeah.
Do you think? Like,
well, the discipline is that's the sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Like motivation,
Yeah.
as we know, comes and goes, and more often than not, you don't have it.
yes. Yes.
Everyone's motivated in different ways, but a lot of the time, if you're only motivated by whether it's internal or external and you don't have that level of discipline, you're not going to get out of bed when it's raining. You're not going to get out of bed
100%.
when it's cold. You're not going to get out of bed and do a run on your own if you're not running with your mates or whatever. So I guess with what we do at the Run Club, it's look, it certainly still relies on discipline, right? People still need to set their alarm, get their clothes out, get
They
up,
need to get there.
drive
You're not
down.
going to come and get them.
We can't.
Like,
even though I've
you
threatened
would.
to do that to people in the past.
Yeah.
It definitely relies on discipline. But as I said, creating an environment where people, I've noticed so many subgroups form of Strava Sharks. I know this wasn't really a question. I'm going in a bit of a tangent here, but it's an incredibly fulfilling thing for Steve and I to see these certain subgroups form. And that's where the discipline comes from, I think, and the motivation as well, I suppose. But when you know your three mates are turning up, A, you don't want to miss out, but B, you sort of, mates give each other shit if they don't turn up or whatever, that's sort of the environment we've created, I suppose. Like early days, I'd message one of my mates and go, oh, why weren't you there this morning?
Yeah.
Now it looks after itself.
Yes.
Like people don't turn up and their little subgroups will go, hey, where were you this morning?
Yeah.
I didn't see you Friday. So
wow.
it's great. And like the connections that we've had form in the Run Club are incredible. We've had relationships form, we've had friendship groups form, people, come from overseas to stay and live and work in the Shire or Sydney or Cronulla more specifically. And the first thing they do is join a gym or find a run club, So we get a lot of people who have moved to the area, but then I see them down the beach having a picnic with 4 other people from Run Club, or, I see 2 people on a date from Run Club as well. Like,
That's
I know
so
it's been overly documented that that Run Clubs are the new dating app, but it is. It's an excuse to connect, and it's a way to connect, and I think it's a healthy way to connect.
Yeah, and it's also it's like-minded people.
Yep.
The people that are at the Run Club.
Yep.
They are the ones that are putting in the time. They want to either look after themselves physically, mentally, come for a connection, come for a chat. So I can totally see how it would form friendships, connections, relationships, whatever it may be. So
we've also had, last year we had our first Strava Sharks baby born. That was cool.
What? That's so exciting.
Nearly, Darcy, she'd be just over 1, I think.
Oh
so
my
Mum and Dad met at the Run Club about 3 years ago. And then,
Baby shark.
First thing we did, first thing we did was bought her a little Strava Sharks onesie. Super sweet, super cute. So that's probably one of the most.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really
super
cool.
special.
How do you balance running this community of Strava Sharks as well as your career and personal life? Because I can imagine it's a big responsibility. It's not just you and your mates anymore. How many people is it up to now? Like, how many people have joined, or is there like a number, like ballpark, or over time?
Yeah, well, I think like we've got a Facebook group now, which is where we post like all the sort of top level comms, whether it's about, events coming up or merchandise or activations or whatever we've got going on that I just want as many people in our community to know about as possible. And I think that's sitting around 300 and something.
Wow.
I try and go on every now and then and sort of work through it. And if there's people that I don't know or feel like I haven't seen, I try and like a bit of quality control and whatever, because it ends up, I want I want people in that group to be as engaged. I'd rather a lesser number and a more engaged group than a larger number.
It's
for
not
the
about the
sake
numbers.
Of, as yeah,
It's not about
exactly
the
right.
numbers.
So I'd rather that. But sorry, I've forgotten what the question
Yeah,
was.
that was great.
Yeah.
Well, I need to actually look back on that question.
Well,
as
yeah,
well.
no, about
Like
the
personal
numbers.
life.
Yep.
How are you balancing everything?
Yeah, well, I think, look, it is a challenge. At times, I would be lying if I said I didn't love it. Like,
Yeah.
I do love it, and the fulfillment it brings me outweighs the stress or the time pressure that it does put on me from time to time. But I genuinely mean it when I say I love it, because you do see the impacts it has on people and what it means to people. People turn up and I can tell that it's just such a staple in their week. Or if they know that they can't come because they're away, they'll message me to let me know, and I'm like, you wouldn't be doing that if it didn't mean
It
a
means
lot to you.
something.
So yeah, I mean, look, I'm lucky, I suppose, that as a freelance videographer, I do have a lot of flexibility around when I have shoots on, or when I can edit, or when I have to be working or whatever.
But
So
also a lot of pressure.
well, that's it. And I'm sure all freelancers can relate, right? There might be some Mondays where you don't have anything to do until 2 p.m.
And then it all comes
But
in
then
one go.
the following weekend, you're working 12-hour days. So look, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love that, and I love the balance. I love the flexibility. I love how that allows me to then sort of put my time into other things. Look, I'm not a Netflix binger. Like, I won't watch a lot of telly. Like, a lot of what I do is working on something, whether it is for my job, or it's a passion project, or it's Strava Sharks, or it's whatever it is. Yeah, I guess all of these things keep my mind occupied. And look, it can be challenging at times, but I guess it's a good challenge because it forces me to probably try and, protect my boundaries a little bit at times. And sort of like really consider where I put my energy.
And just to kind of close up the episode, if someone's been thinking about joining Strava Sharks, but obviously feels a bit nervous, I'm sure there's more than one person out there that feels nervous about joining a run club. But in terms of Strava Sharks, what would you say to them?
Like I said before, I think your first day at any new experience, a job, a mother's group, a run club, a gym, it's always going to be the most daunting one. Generally, it never gets worse. It only gets better. So, as I said, cliche, turn up, you'll find someone at your pace that's in the same situation as you. The group has gotten quite a bit bigger now, which is great because it means there's more people moving, more people running, more people finding connection. But it also means there's going to be more people that you can relate to, more people that you can run with. When we start running, the group spreads out really quickly. We've got some runners that'll run off at 4-minute 30 Ks. We've got some runners that sort of sit towards the back at 7-minute Ks. And
7 minutes.
There are people all the way through. So
I'll be there next week, guys.
you'll find someone that runs at your pace and that you can chat to and that you can relate to. And there's always going to be someone at the end to give you a high five, buy you a coffee, share a story with.
Jared's like, Toledo's finally made it. All right, we can wrap it up now.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a coffee.
Okay,
if you come
thank
down,
you.
I'll
I
buy
will
you
come
first
then.
coffee.
Yes.
Yep.
As a mum, I need a coffee.
That's it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Get in touch with us. If you've got any questions, send us a message. I'm sure Toledo can link you the Instagram details. But yeah, send us a message because always happy to spend our time and explain what we do and why we do it. And
Well, thank you, Jarryd. I mean, if anyone has any questions or want to have a look at Strava Sharks, I will link it down below, as well as photography, videography. I mean, the photo for Stories to be Told,
let's go.
the logo, that was taken by Jarryd. So thank you for that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And well, hopefully I'll see you at the Run Club next week.
Thank you for having me. This felt like a privilege. So thank you. I was very pleased and honoured to be able to do something like this and share the story and talk about what we do. So thank you.
The whole point of the podcast is I want to share important stories to the world. And obviously this story is, what would you kind of like summarize it up as? It started off as something that you just enjoyed.
Yeah.
And it's led to something quite beautiful. And
Personal growth, I think,
Yeah,
is
personal
probably
growth.
the biggest
Okay.
thing that it's
Yeah.
been for people. I mean, individual growth, but as a group. I think I meant to mention this before, but I think I explain the experience that people have as they almost progress behind their own back. I feel like people turn up for the social element and for the coffee and for that connection, and before you know it, they've done that for 5 weeks in a row. So they've run 6Ks
Wow.
once a week for the last 5 weeks. And the amount of people that turn up to run their first 5 or 6K with us, nervous, apprehensive, all of those words, and in 8, 9, 10 weeks' time, they say, "Oh, I've actually just signed up for the Sutherland to Surf, which is an
Wow.
11K run," or
Yeah.
I actually really want to do my first half marathon by the end of the year. And I'm like,
Wow.
you told me
You can't run
2 months
5Ks.
ago that you wouldn't be able to run
Yeah.
6K. So
Wow.
that's the most fulfilling part. I think
Yeah.
it's people accidentally
They're
having
working
fitness
on-
improvements.
Yes, like on something else and they don't even know.
Yeah. A lot of our group aren't
That's awesome.
runners. They would say they're not runners.
Wow.
But
That's
it's
crazy.
yeah, it's great.
Well, thank you, Jarryd, for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here and listening to the story. If today's conversation brought up anything for you, just remember, this podcast shares personal experiences, not professional advice. Please reach out to a qualified professional or someone you trust if you need support. So if you end up loving this episode, I'd be so grateful if you took a second to follow along and leave a 5-star review. It really helps these stories reach the people who need them most. This has been Stories to be Told with Talita. I'm your host, where every story matters and no one has to feel alone in theirs. I'll see you in the next one.